sure why it always goes downhill. Our broken cisterns never could stay filled. I've spent 10 years singing gravity away, but the water keeps on falling from the sky. And here tonight, all the stars.
You know, I think it's gotten better over the years. I mean, I think there's more like the ramps you're talking about, or like maybe programs or homes for people that have, memory loss or different things. So I think it's gotten better, but I think there's, especially, with like autism, I think it's a great example that I don't know really, or many organizations with them. So I think it's gotten better over the years, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and I think there's certain, what do you want to say? Like autism and things that probably need more support and funding to have support again for those people that are dealing with it and the families that are raising autistic kids, and to have resources and support to know kind of the next steps.
I can't name them, but I know of them. Yeah.
Any like nationally or kind of just locally?
Probably more national, I think.
Okay. Do you?
Although I can't tell you what they are.
Right. No, not all. Okay.
That's a really good question. I can't think of any right off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a National Institute for the Severely Handicapped and the National Institute for the Blind, and they actually have a manufacturing base that handles domestic production for the government procurements for the U.S. military. So they hold contracts for items that are really easy to make, things like headwear and some gloves and some clothing as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, Bridge Ministries, because I know they've done stuff for our church.
Do you know their specifics?
I don't. I had a friend that worked with them for a while, but I don't know exactly what they do. But I know
Well, there's all kinds of diseases. There's loss of limbs. There's eyesight problems. It's like innumerable.
Well, of course.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay if you can't think of any.
There's lots.
People with multiple sclerosis.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Or like loss of limb.
Well, you've got blindness, and you've got different physical handicap elements, that prevent people from being fully ambulatory and getting around. You've got mental handicaps as well.
Or like facilities, like wheelchair ramps, or buses that have the drop down things for wheelchairs. Do you think that there's enough of those around in the country? No.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that is improving.
Okay.
But I still think that there's a lot that needs to be addressed in that regard. A lot of it has to do with funding, as far as such as the city of Edmonds has. They really redone a lot of their sidewalks and making it much more user-friendly for people with disabilities.
I didn't know that.
The bus system, I've noticed, Sound Transit, Metro, they seem to have new buses now that lower down, make it much easier for handicapped.
So, just from learning about what Kelsey's done and learning about what people suffer through, I think there's enough organizations that need help to help the kids and families.
I'm sure there are, but I don't know that though.
Okay. So.
I don't know how easy it is or how difficult it is for access to help.
It's nice to have volunteer organizations.
Right.
But I think something like that is government should be spending money on instead of other things that are destructive.
Yeah.
It could be a partnership also in that organizations that advocate for disabilities could receive grant funding or that sort of thing, but to see the project through, that always is useful too.
Probably more information so people know what's going on, so maybe they would be interested if they knew how to get involved and what needed to be done or money to be given or specifics they could do.
So information's the key.
Yeah, I think so.
Someone that can't communicate, you can completely change their quality of life by allowing them to communicate. But the next thing that you want to restore is mobility. So the next project that we took upon ourselves was to try to be able to drive a wheelchair with brain signals. I am the creator and the director of the Georgia Tech Brain Lab, which is a research group that's devoted to researching and understanding what kind of control we can have from brain signals alone. We're one of the very first labs to control a wheelchair with brain signals, and we've used a variety of different mechanisms so that we might have boxes flashing at different speeds, and we can tell by brain signal processing that if you're watching this box that's flashing at 10 times a second, or this one that's flashing at 15 times a second, all you have to do is pay attention to the one you want. If you want to turn right, you pay attention to the one on the right, and we can see which one you're looking at by the oscillations in the brain, how many times a second your brain is processing it. So we can say, you're looking at the one that's flashing 10 times a second, and we can turn a wheelchair. Our most recent wheelchair, one of my master students, Michael Boyce, who is a wheelchair user himself, reverse engineered his own wheelchair to be driven by this visual interface. And he actually drove it around the building quite a bit. So that was exciting. It gives people control without having to move a joystick, without having to press a button, but to be able to move around your own home without assistance is very important. We're very focused on providing independence to people with physical disabilities.
Today I'm announcing one of the most important updates to the ADA since its original enactment in 1991. Today, the Department of Justice is publishing 2 new rules protecting disability-based discrimination, or prohibiting disability-based discrimination by more than 80,000 state and local government entities and 7 million private businesses. And beginning 18 months from now, all new buildings must be constructed in a way that's compliant with the new 2010 standards for the design of doors and windows and elevators and bathrooms. Buildings like stores and restaurants and schools and stadiums and hospitals and hotels and theaters. My predecessor's administration proposed these rules 6 years ago. And in those 6 years, they have been improved upon with more than 4,000 comments from the public. We heard from all sides. That's allowed us to do this in a way that makes sense economically and allows appropriate flexibility while ensuring Americans with disabilities full participation in our society. Equal access, equal opportunity, freedom to make our lives what we will. These aren't principles that belong to any one group or any one political party. They are common principles. They are American principles. No matter who we are, young, old, rich, poor, black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, gay, straight, disabled or not, these are the principles we cherish as citizens of the United States of America.